idealized images that we carry around with us. There's the fact that our image is not ours to create. It never has been. We don't get to create our own image. When God said to Moses on Mount Sinai, in the second commandment, "You shall not make for yourself any carved images," He didn't just mean false images of God. I think He also meant false images of ourselves, because whenever we have false images of ourselves, we tend to project those onto God. If you're an angry person, if you have a short temper, it's easy to see God as a judgmental and angry God. If you're a people pleaser, then maybe you see God as a nice old grandpa in the sky who can't say no. We do this. We take our self-image, the ones we've worked on so hard, and we tend to project them onto God. And so when we try to worship God, we're actually just worshiping our self-image. At that point, the image has become an idol. We will always end up serving the images that we create for ourselves. They will always become our idols. Our only true image is the one that God has given us. After God created humans in His own image, the first thing that He did was bless them. Before He said anything else, before He did anything else, when it came to human beings, it says that God blessed them. There's been a lot of debate and argument over the years about what it means to be made in God's image or in God's likeness. These words, image and likeness, what exactly do they mean? What does it mean to be in God's image? And most people would agree that it probably doesn't mean that we represent what God physically looks like, that we're a physical copy of God, per se. It's probably more something along the lines of, our freedom of choice, or our capacity to reason and be creative and make things like these buildings out of what God has made. This is probably what it means to be in God's image, and it sets us apart from the rest of creation as being a little bit more like God. But that whole debate about image and likeness misses the point. Whatever else it means, being made in the image of God means that you are blessed by God. That's who you really are. That's who we really are. Your life has received God's permanent stamp of approval and blessing right from the beginning. Now, our text tells us that this blessing is more than just a status that we have with God. It's also a way of life. It doesn't just tell us who we are, it tells us how to live so that we can continue living in and under God's blessing. It says a couple of things about this. It says the first way to continue living in God's blessing is through meaningful work. God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and have dominion over creation." God has entrusted us with the work of caring for everything else in the garden. Everything else that God has made. And the second way to experience God's blessing and to live in God's blessing is through simple enjoyment. God said, "See, I have given you every tree and its fruit. You shall have them for food. See what I have given you." And so mixed in with our work is the command to simply sit back and enjoy the gifts of the garden. Work and enjoyment are both part of God's blessing, both part of what it means to be made in God's image. Now, as far as the work goes, it says that the work God has given us is to have dominion over creation. That's our job. It is to join God in the work of caring for everything else that He has made. Another way of putting that is the way that it was put to Abraham many chapters later in Genesis, which is, you are blessed to be a blessing. That's our job description. We are blessed to be a blessing. God has blessed us so that we can go and bless others in His name. And this means that your work, the work for which you were created, is about more than just your job or your retirement at this point, whatever it might be. Work is about whether or not you are caring for the part of the garden that God has given you, so that it can in turn bless other people. And that's what gives the rest of our work its meaning. The work that you do at the office, at the base, classroom, at home, raising kids, caring for your parents, all the work that you do derives its meaning from this fundamental purpose of work: blessed to be a blessing. Work is only meaningful when it is a blessing to others. And when it is a blessing to others, then it also becomes a blessing to you. We have a harder time, I think, with enjoyment. We like work. We understand work because it gives us a sense of control and a sense of, we do this and this happens. Action, reaction. The consequences are predictable. We know how work works. And so we like that. We like the sense of control, but enjoyment is only found by surrendering our lives, surrendering our dominion to God who has created us, long enough to see the gifts that He has given us in creation. God said to Adam and Eve, "See, I have given you." That's how all enjoyment starts. See, I have given you. Are you paying attention to what God has given you? Are you paying attention to the gifts that are all around you? That's how enjoyment begins. And that's why God designed the week to begin with a day of rest. A day of Sabbath. A day of sitting back and saying, look at all of these gifts. Isn't this wonderful? Before we go out and do the work of caring for them. It starts with enjoyment. No one has ever earned more joy in their life by working longer hours or making more money or taking nicer vacations. We know that by now. We can't earn joy in that way. Joy is found in the things that can only be received as gifts. Whether it's our relationships or the beauty of creation all around us. And yes, even the gift of work as we take care of those things, but those are still all gifts. And joy is found in those things that we can only receive. Joy is not achieved, in other words. It's only something that we can receive and discover as we learn to see every good and perfect gift that comes from God. When God was finished with creation on the sixth day, He said something that He had not said on any of the other days. All the other days of creation, when He got finished making light and dark and the land and the waters and all the animals, He said it was good. God looked and saw that it was good. But after the sixth day, after He made humans in His image, God looked and said, indeed, it is very good. And He blessed them with this work and this enjoyment. And when we learn to see the gifts of God around us and enjoy them, that is what makes life blessed and very good for us. And that is why we come to this table. This table with the bread and the cup. We come here to learn to see again. To learn to see the gifts of God in every form that they come in. But of course, the greatest gift that we receive at this table is the gift of communion with Jesus Christ. He was crucified, He was buried, He was raised from the dead so that we could be adopted into this family of grace. And so as we come and remember Christ in the broken bread and the cup, Christ takes our broken image and remembers it and puts it back together so that we can again be people of joy who are blessed by God. And that makes life very good indeed. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.